And I think that if you're eating 1.6 grams of protein per kilo per day, you're probably getting a decent amount out of your training, but you might benefit from a little bit more. I just think that, drawing a line in the sand at 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram body weight per day and saying, look, that's all you need and there's no wiggle room there. Well, those weren't our initial recommendations anyway. And sure, I think it's fine to push back against that. But our initial recommendation was, hey, try to get at least 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram body weight per day. You may need more, up to somewhere around 3 grams of protein per kilogram body weight per day. And that's fine too. I don't know. Dr. Baraki, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's fine. And if you go back, many years, if not decades, people in the fitness space who were among that population of hard training, motivated people, they would just say a gram per pound. And it's like, okay, that's at that higher end of that range, 2.2, that's fine. Go for that. We're okay with that. The two things I would point out here, because I more often am face to face with this, not just gen pop, but like clinical populations. And the idea that I'm going to take most of my clinical population and convince them to increase their routine, habitual daily, protein intake up to that range, definitely, up to 2.2, if not even just up to 1.6, it's slim for a lot of them. And so I'm like content with a lot of the clinical folks, if I can get them up to, greater than 1.2 to 1.4, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'll call that a win, especially if the sources of that protein are displacing less healthy alternative energy sources or even protein sources. The last thing I'll mention here is, let's swap out some of the terms here. So here we're talking about the recommended level of protein intake for, these, say, hypertrophy outcomes. What if I just did a Mad Lib here and swapped out and said volume in terms of sets per week for muscle hypertrophy outcomes? And somebody was like, well, is 1.6 enough? And that's just like somebody asking us, hey, for muscle hypertrophy, is 4 sets enough? And it's like, biology is complicated. There's a lot of variation here. There's going to be ranges. Different people are going to respond to different levels of intake. Even within people, their response to a given intervention is going to vary over time, depending on a host of variables. Their sleep and their nutritional status and their training and all sorts of other factors that are at play. And so that's why, these things are necessarily going to be fuzzy. All right. So there's, even if we settled and we said, oh, we're going to modify our recommendation, instead of 1.6, it's going to be 2.2. That's going to be more than some people need and probably less than other people need. Right.